Welcome back to the OKC Foodcast. You are joined once again by your hosts, Nabil
and Ashley,
and your guide to the Oklahoma food scene.
Yeah, that was
I think
good.
That's kind of what I decided I'd stick with.
I think you should stick with that.
I give it a thumbs up.
And as you just heard, we're joined by a very special guest, Dave Cathey, also known as the Food Dude.
That's me. That's the name they gave me.
Food Dude's in the house.
Glad to be in the house.
That's the name they gave me. And I just kept it.
You know, kind of is in a weird way.
All right, we'll get into that.
Get to that.
Yeah. So what was, let's start with our Eat of the Week.
Let's do it.
All right. Do you want to go first?
Sure. Mine was, I was in Houston this past weekend for a training, and I found this really random place. And as I mentioned it to you, you were like, was it Chinese? I was like, yes, it was. How do you know? But it was near the Bush International Airport. It was called Bamboo House. Mm-hmm. And I mean, you know, it just the reviews were good, and I was just like, we'll just go eat there because we were looking for a place to eat. Blew me away.
Mind-blowing.
I ordered, I saw these beef special noodles, and I was like, ooh, what is that? So I asked the server what those were. She's like, oh yeah, this is spicy beef, and we sauteed with this and that, peppers, onions, garlic, spice, and oh yeah, we make our own noodles. And just like a passing by comment, we make our own noodles. And I was like, yes, I'm gonna try that.
Yeah,
it was so good. And it was so plentiful that I ate it. And I was with some other people, so we shared a few things. I ate that, and I told them, can I pack this up to take it home? Those noodles flew
on an airplane.
Yes.
Nice.
Those noodles flew back with me to Oklahoma.
It made it through security and everything.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, it was just like a regular to-go box, and I was like, hey, do you have saran wrap?
Oh, that's funny.
Plastic wrapped it. Plastic,
I tried to do that once with a muffaletta from New Orleans.
Right?
Did not work.
Didn't travel well.
No, didn't even make it into the airport. It was eaten on the curb. On the curb.
You were like ripping.
Yeah, it was finally like, all right, it's oil running down to my elbows. Like, this is so delicious. I'm just gonna eat it right now.
Right.
I felt bad for whoever I sat next to on the airplane that day.
Well, I mean, it probably smelled good.
It was better than if I had brought it on.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what I should have said. Hey, I could have brought it with me.
And eating it right here
right
next
in front
to
of you. Wow, that's impressive though.
Yeah, that sounds really good.
It was so good. And then someone else got the sizzling teriyaki, which they brought a hot plate, and then they put butter and onions in there, so they're sauteing the onions in front of you.
Nice.
And they just plop the chicken and teriyaki on there. Yeah. I mean, it was already cooked, so to give it the sizzle effect. It was, I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah,
so
it's nice. Well, I'll be in Houston next week.
There you go.
All week. So
Bamboo House, check it out.
There you go. Have you been to Yummy Noodles?
Oh yes.
Yeah. See, when you were talking about that, that kind of brings to mind
the handmade noodles.
Spicy beef noodles.
Yes.
The whole thing.
That place is so good.
I tried to go one time, but got a little too late.
Yeah.
So that's
I really,
on my list.
I mean, I've been twice now. I really want to go back. It's a little out of the way, being all the way in Norman for me.
Oh, that's Magic Noodles.
Magic Noodles. Oh,
There's a
Yummy
different
Noodles.
one.
No,
Yummy
23rd Street.
Right,
I have been there once.
Yeah.
You're
See,
right.
Magic Noodles is the one I want to go to because I've been hearing.
Yeah. Magic
all these
Noodles,
crazy things.
amazing.
Yeah.
And that's the one in Norman off Classic.
And they're making their noodles.
Yeah, and you can see the guy making them right there.
He does apparently all he does all day long.
Yeah.
they have the classic, the Food Network videos that you see on Facebook, right? They slow down when he smacks the noodles on the table.
Yeah, this guy's just living it. He's living that life.
Yeah. I mean, it was amazing. But Yummy Noodles on 23rd Street, that was also very, very good.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that a lot.
They're both on my list. I need to get back on
Get your noodle game on.
Yeah, totally get your noodle game on.
And my goal for the winter is to make my own.
There you go. See there?
Yeah. So. And we should make it a cooking night.
We should.
Yeah.
There you go.
Absolutely.
Let's do it.
Well, since I feel like this is a good segue to my Eat of the Week, so I'll go ahead and go next. I had Sala Thai, which is also off 23rd Street.
Old school.
Yeah, we actually got it postmated to us because I was helping my friend move into his house. And so we had the drunken noodles, which were superb. The pad thai, which was also very, very good. And then the pineapple curry with shrimp.
Yeah.
Nice.
Sal Thai is solid.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. And I hadn't had it in so long.
Yeah.
And when we were looking for like what we should get postmated to us, I was like, oh, this is
Solid choice.
And, you know, sometimes when you get stuff delivered to you, the quality just kind of, I mean, we've talked about this.
Yeah.
The quality sometimes diminishes, you know, especially if it's like a burger or
Oh, totally,
seafood.
yeah.
This was still like piping
Like
hot
Thai
and
food,
perfect. It
getting to go
travels
is
so
perfect.
well.
I mean, it traveled all the way from Houston.
Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely. Without refrigeration, too.
Right.
And he's still here to talk about it.
Yeah.
That's the
And
genius of
I
it.
ate it the night I got back.
You know, it's just been kind of sitting on the counter, you know, in a weird way. Covered.
Yeah. So really, really good. They still got it.
Yeah, man. They've been around since forever.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're one of the first Thai restaurants we had here. So, yeah. And that's something, you know, we've got all these great new places to try, and it's my job to try all these places. But it gets hard to, like, it's a tough thing. You have favorites and local favorites.
Right,
it's
and
very-
You want to
fitting-
keep going back.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
we talk about this fitting in those past favorites
Yeah.
whenever you still are. You have a list of places that you need to
Sure.
go to and
Right.
try.
Yeah.
It's tough.
It is. It is. And so the message is, don't forget our friends who
Yeah.
taught us to eat.
Yes,
That's a good way to
exactly.
put it, right? Yeah.
Exactly.
They're still toiling, and they still need our business. And I know we have too many that, you know, so many that you feel like you need to eat out every single night.
Right.
But, you know, just don't forget.
Yeah, remember.
And eating is a tough job.
It can be. I'm here to tell you. It has its moments where it's difficult, but mostly it's pretty great.
It is. It's fun, but it does become like, okay, I need to try all these places. Which one do I do tonight?
Well, sometimes it's like ooh, I really want an old favorite.
Yeah.
It's like, I should really try something.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah. Well, that's welcome to my life.
Right.
I mean, for like the past 3 years, since the growth has just gotten out of control. Here's an example. So when I do my coverage, you know, I'll go hit a new restaurant, try and get some impressions, take some pictures, share it with my readers, and then I try and circle back 6 weeks, you know, 3 months maybe, and really, you know, go back and do some heavy coverage. So I did coverage of Ned's Starlight Lounge last month.
Yeah.
It had been a year since my original. That was my circle back. It took me a full
took you a
year.
year.
It took me a year because there were so many new places to
Right.
hit in between.
You've got the Earth's rotation.
Yeah, it's the truth. It's maybe even a little past it. I may be on Mars or something like that. I don't know. I'm not familiar with all the calendars, but yeah, it's like it's crazy. So yeah, it is very, very, yeah. And for my eat of the week, well, as I mentioned, my eat of the week will be tonight.
Okay.
I'm going to Cafe Cuvée tonight for a wine dinner.
So good.
Kurt Fleischfresser, the chef, our big kahuna chef here in Oklahoma, he is actually doing the cooking tonight. He doesn't do that very often. So that will absolutely be my eat of the week. However, in the last 7 days, I did notice that 2 days in a row, I ate at a Hal Smith pizza place.
Okay, nice.
Which you could not have done a year
Right.
ago.
Yeah.
Because they only had one pizza
They only
place.
had
But
one.
now they have a new one. So it was Notorious PIE in Norman, downtown Norman. More of it's sort of their neighborhood jam goes pizza.
Okay.
The feeling in the place has that neighborhood jam kind
Yeah.
of feel, the colors and, you know, modern and,
Yeah.
and young and family and all that. Good pizza by the slice, stuff like that, bar. And of course, upper crust is more, it's got a bigger bar. It's a family restaurant too, but it's a little more chefly, I would say.
Right.
You know, yeah, a little more chefly.
Yeah.
No pizza by the slice. Some really great salads. They're my favorite salad, the farmer's market salad they have there. And of course, if you haven't had it, the cookie pie.
I have not
I've
had
not
the
had
cookie
Is
pie.
it like a Pizookie?
If you watch Succession on HBO, you know, there's this moment where a guy reveals some information that he warns them of. Now, once I tell you this, you're gonna know.
Yeah, the cruise. The
Yeah,
cruise
and
incident.
you're never gonna get away from it. So
Yeah.
that's cookie pie is kind of the same thing. You will find yourself,
Why'd you
where's my
pull me
cookie
into
pie?
this conspiracy?
Yes, where is my cookie pie? It's very simple. It's just I think it's a small, like whatever their smallest pan is, 5-7 inch, I don't know, and they just do a fresh chocolate chip cookie dough in there with a white macadamia on the other side, and put it in the oven. pull it out, and while it's hot, they drizzle it with chocolate and put a little scoop of ice cream on it.
Yum.
So by the time it gets to you, it's just waiting for you to just kind of mush it all up and turn you into a 5-year-old.
So it sounds very similar to
a pizookie.
Yes, but I'm gonna have to try this.
Yeah, it's just a hot cookie out of the oven.
And you can get away from it. You're totally right.
Yeah,
whenever we've gone to BJ's,
yeah.
When it's like a late night, you always you're like, oh, I'm kind of full. I really don't want to eat. We have to get the two.
You can't leave without.
Yeah, and this is the miracle of all miracles. Is I was there yesterday and I did not get the cookie pie.
Wow.
I did not because we had a very long, big interview to do in the afternoon. That I could not.
Didn't want to be in the cookie
I could not be
coma?
sleeping. the cookie coma, the cookie hammock that I know is waiting for me whenever I get into one of those. So yeah,
Nice.
I had to, and it was like I was proud of myself. I walked out there, see there,
Look at me.
cookie
I did
pie
it.
free.
Look at
I
that.
did it. So what type of pizza did you try at both of those places?
Oh gosh, at Notorious PIE we had we kind of did. I was trying to sample. The one I really liked was the Big Peppa. It was just a pepperoni pizza. Well, I say just a pepperoni pizza. That's the thing. That's what I liked about it. I think on the menu it says there's 90 slices of pepperoni,
Really?
on the pizza, and then they have fried pepperoni bits over the top.
Ooh.
So it kind of harkens back to the old Sussie's Nomad pizza
Right.
that everybody used to love back in the day. So there's that, and I think I did a what was? Oh yeah, you know what it was? It was an au jus. It was like the name was kind of long and silly. I dip, you dip, we dip, or something like that. I may have gotten those out of order.
No,
Sorry about that, guys.
I think you're close.
Something like that. But it was cool. It was like a roast, roast beef with an au jus.
Nice.
It's kind of a fun way to do that.
That sounds good.
What I really liked, they had these little bomb snacks. Take pizza dough, like about palm size, put some filling in there, cheese, fry it. Nice little,
Oh, nice.
almost like a pizza hush
So
puppy
yeah, yeah.
type
All
thing.
right.
Yeah.
Like a stuffed, yeah.
Yeah,
Like
stuffed.
a cheesy
stuffed bun or
bread,
something.
but
Yeah.
it's a ball.
Yeah. So, because they've got, it's Norman, so they have a pretty strong bar game, and they're aiming for the small
college
bites
crowd.
and college
Yeah.
crowd. and all
Yeah.
that. So yeah, and they don't have any plans to expand Notorious PIE yet. However, it's the Hal Smith restaurant.
I was
group.
like,
And
that's gonna happen really soon.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's in its DNA. It's built
Yeah.
into the DNA
Right.
of the concept.
Yeah.
If they did it, so coming soon. Probably you, Edmund. Be prepared.
To a street near you.
That's right. To a Hal Smith owned property near you. Check your local
Yeah, it's gonna happen.
So let's dive into this.
Cool.
So let's just get a little bit of background about you. Where are you from?
Where I'm from. Okay. I was born in San Diego and raised in Austin, Texas.
Ooh, fun.
So, yeah, lived in San Diego till I was about 8. That's when we moved to Austin, raised in Austin, did my first couple of years of college up in a small town called York, Nebraska, and then landed here for my last 2.5 years of college. And been here ever since.
Nice.
So, yeah, I've now lived here, well, it's been a while. I've lived here longer than anywhere I ever lived.
So your formative taste bud years.
Yes,
were in Austin.
we're in San Diego. My true formative was at the time we were moving. My parents, we were moving from San Diego to Austin, and they left me for 2 weeks with our next door neighbor who was from Puerto Rico. He was my mom's best friend. And she fed me for 2 weeks. She'd fed me before, and I loved Feline's food. That was her name, was Feline. I loved her food. But 2 weeks of nonstop Feline food led to a very brief conversation with my mother where she says, oh, how did everything go? Did you have a good time? And yeah, it was great. I said, Mom, you need to learn how to cook like Feline. And she just laughed, So I was like, so yeah, from then on, I mean, like from that point on, and then, yeah, we moved to Austin, and I do remember, my parents always talking like, there's a restaurant on every corner here. My gosh, look at this. And at that point, this was 76, late 76 or something like that.
So what is even like what it is
Yeah,
today?
nothing
Today
like it
is
is now.
insane.
No, it was a lot of Tex-Mex, a lot of catfish, all you can eat catfish, diners, things like that. Yeah, like I said, the original County Line Barbecue.
Okay.
Was like 5 minutes from my house.
Nice.
We moved when we moved in down there. Our kitchen had not yet been installed, so for about a week, we could only eat out, and the only thing close to us was County Line. And we came from California, where, especially in the 70s, there was no barbecue.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
And so we sit down, and they're serving beef ribs. You know, you don't see beef ribs today.
Yeah.
It's monster. It looks like the brontosaurus bone from the Flintstones. You know, that when I was a kid, I was like, yeah, I want that. Of course, I want that. And then they had these giant, tea glasses, Texas tea glasses. Wow. In California, you have to ask for a refill, and they charge you.
Yeah.
Right.
And
Here it's like,
it's like, oh, they're refilling the giant thing. So I'm converting to tea. As a 9-year-old, count me in. 3 refills in, and look at the giant cup. So yeah, it was quite a upbringing. And then of course the city started really to evolve. Great Mexican food, always great Tex-Mex food, and now it's an international.
Yeah.
It's one of the best places to eat in America now.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's
concur.
tough going there because I was like, what do I eat?
Yeah, there's
it
so
is.
many choices.
Yeah, try growing up there, because now when I go, just like anywhere, I don't know if you guys are from here, but like going home is there. I'll give an example. So Rick Bayless, the world famous chef, when he comes to Oklahoma City, his hometown, every year, the first place he goes is Johnny's Charcoal Broiler. Okay. That has always been the case. It is still the case today. No matter how many great restaurants we build up, Rick Bayless is not going to eat at any of them before he eats Johnny's,
Right.
because that's what he does.
Yeah.
And I'm the same way. When I go to Austin, there's places that I am like contractually obligated to go to that are not the new hot cool places. So yeah, it's tough, but I have managed to.
You've managed.
I've managed to find a way over the years.
Nice.
I just go for an extra day.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Well, yeah, there came a point where I finally was like, I have to eat at Franklin Barbecue. My wife being vegetarian and all, I was like, everyone, not just around here is talking about it. It's like, it's gone global.
Yeah.
I've got to eat there. So, after that, it was like, all right, every trip from now on, I've got to hit at least one place that is not, 1,000 years old.
Yeah.
That's funny.
But I'm sure those places are fantastic as well.
Oh, they are, yeah. Matt's El Rancho is like one of the birthplaces of Tex-Mex, and you can get a smoked brisket taco, which is great, but it's just, it doesn't compare to the new stuff.
Yeah.
Like all the cool,
Yeah.
again, chefly.
Chefly, the bells and whistles.
Yeah, exactly.
absolutely.
Well, you get in there, like what makes Austin so great, they like us had a really vibrant food truck scene,
Oh, yeah.
within the last 10 years. The difference down there, because they have so many young chefs down there, a lot of what were being operated down there were like guys, were sous chefs. They had a duck truck down there at one point, all duck. That's all the guy made, duck confit and variations on duck. We don't have that here.
No.
Maybe we'll get it eventually.
Maybe someday,
Yeah.
but yeah.
No,
Specialized people.
You're right.
their food truck scene
Yeah.
is
Oh, yeah.
legit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
And they have a jump on us too. Sixth
for
Street
sure.
was established and had
Yeah.
already sort of created a truck scene before trucks were a thing.
Exactly.
So
Yeah, it's probably like evolved from a cart scene.
totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was
Yeah.
empty small buildings that you put a window in a little kitchen back there,
Yeah.
or like a fireworks thing, one of those fireworks
Stands,
cabins,
yeah.
stands, and
Yeah.
you turn that in. Yeah, my favorite hot dog concept on earth, doggy style. And if you saw the logo, you would understand why I love it so
Oh my
much.
gosh,
It's
that's
fantastic.
hilarious.
Yeah. So they had a jump on us there, but that doesn't mean that I'm not proud of our food truck scene.
Oh,
No, absolutely.
it's still awesome. So, your passion for food seems like it began
Very young. Very young.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That conversation with my mother about
Yeah.
tacos extended into Texas eventually when I was about 10. And I said, how come you never make tacos? And she said, well, I don't know how. She said, if you like them so much, why don't you learn?
How come you never made
Yes,
it?
that was her response. I was like, and I was kind of a young, smart aleck, and it's like, oh, that's a question I can't answer. That's a great question, Mom. Let's go to the grocery store, find out. And that's what we did. And my dad was a big chili maker, and so it just kind of became a thing. And and gradually, I just loved food more than I realized, and
Right.
got into newspapers years later. And there came a point when, I've done so many jobs at the Oklahoman, started in sports, I've been in news, all around news. I was the state editor at one point, and that's about the time when our food editor retired. And we were going to actually go straight wire on our food coverage. We were not going to have any local food coverage. And I had options because we were also not going to do state coverage for the daily paper anymore. And so I had a few options, none of which were the food editor job, until I said, hey, I think there's a job I'd like. And I had a little something put together, that you have a job and you have a few jobs in a newsroom. You're thinking, ooh, if that ever comes open,
I want
that job, because I had already done some food type stuff for the Oklahoman at that point. We did early video. Gosh, that's probably hanging around somewhere. We dug a hole on our property that's across the street over here back in the day. We dug a hole.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, we dug a hole in the back and smoked a brisket overnight in the hole.
I was hoping you'd say something like that.
Yeah. It's like, so I was doing stuff like that already. And so, okay, I see what you're thinking. And,
The manager's like, what are you doing? It's for the news.
Yeah, oh, believe me. Yeah. The security staff was not amused with us digging
Why
a
do you
big
have a
hole.
shovel, Dave?
Yeah, well, by the time they found us, the shovel had already done its damage, and they're just looking at me like, you realize we have wild animals that live out here, so you're gonna have trouble.
You're going to have to babysit this.
Yeah, with this
they might
brisket.
not be here tomorrow.
Yeah, if the brisket's not here, you'll know who's got. It's a coyote that got it, or something
Yeah.
like that. We were like, unfortunately, it rained a bunch, but it didn't. It killed our fire, but not.
Your will.
Well, of course not. Never killed our will. But no, it killed it at a point when, by the time they did it, the brisket was already cooked.
Oh, nice.
And so it just sort of turned the heat off a little sooner. But it traps. See, when you cook underground like that, you've dug a hole and you bury it with a lid, like a wooden lid that you wet down. And so you've sort of trapped heat in there that just sort of gradually dissipates. Well, the rain kind of put it out a little sooner, and
Right.
trapped it at a lower temperature. So it was actually just fine.
It was like, thank you.
Yeah, you kept the coyotes out.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. So so after that, they, they said, hey, we like your proposal. Let's do that. And then in the, about a week or so that followed that, there was all these different people moving in different positions and things. It was one of those transition times at the paper. And a friend of mine said, so what are you doing with after all the changes? And I said, I'm going to be food dude. And I said, the funny thing is I said this, we were waiting for a elevator, and I just got on the elevator, and he said this to me as the elevator was closing. I said, I'm going to be food dude, and the door shut. And that was it. And it was like I was gone. And then like the next day, are you really going to call it food dude? And I was like, well, and I like it. Okay, we'll see.
Nice. So that is how the food dude was born.
Literally, is just like an afterthought. Just sort of like the quickest way I could tell this guy what I was going to be doing as the elevator doors are shutting, and it was like, oh, that rhymed.
The food dude. Yeah.
Nice.
So there we had a name, and actually this week, if I could be off a few days, but I believe this is 11 years ago this week.
Wow.
It would have been my first column for the Oklahoma.
Wow.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah.
I'm celebrating with a dinner at Cathey. So.
Nice.
Good choice.
Right, well done. Thank you.
So having 11 years of experience, you have seen really Oklahoma evolve
Very much so.
tremendously.
Very much so.
So tell us a little bit about that evolution that you've seen right before your eyes.
There's some well-documented economic factors in play as to why there's a lot more investment in restaurants now than there used to be. Okay, so and we won't get into that long, boring subject, but there is a reality there,
Right.
that more people are looking towards restaurants to invest. Okay, the other part of it is we've had a really good run of media for food. You got to thank Food Network.
Oh, yeah.
For one thing.
Yeah.
It's opened people's eyes, and it's sort of. It's inspired people through the years. Even though it's funny. I don't really hardly ever watch Food Network anymore.
No,
because it's mostly game shows now.
But like every network has a food show.
Sure,
Yeah.
but that's why
It's all over YouTube.
they've been MTV'd.
Yeah. And it just, I think it, like you were saying, it's made it a lot more accessible.
Totally.
Right? It's not a mystery, but like, how do I cook? It's like, oh, it's more like, what can I cook?
You know what? I had forgotten this, but I just remembered this. So when I was we had a Norman Bureau for about 5 years, and in my downtime there, this would have been I finished there in about 99, I think. So internet access had just arrived to everyone's computer at the office.
Nice.
You know, before that there was one on each floor and you had to go find it.
Yeah.
So we're finally to the point where everybody has internet access. So in my downtime, I started downloading recipes from Food Network, and I still have this big old black binder, big plastic black binder, all in their little sheet, in their plastic sheets, perfectly, you know, they got stains all over them, but I just bam.
Yeah.
Thank you, Emerald, for that.
Bam.
I just collected those things, and so and it did, and my cooking got so much better because now I had some direction. You know,
Right.
like following a recipe by itself isn't going to teach you how to cook, but
Right.
it will certainly get you interested enough to start asking the questions of the recipe.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, and digging a little deeper, and then here's some video to show me
Yeah.
what I couldn't figure out,
Right.
and now you can get there. And so I ended up ordering like the Culinary Institute of America textbook at some point, and I've got it at home. It's got all the little, you know, highlighters through it and
Yeah.
stuff. So I'm just
Oh,
home
man,
self-training.
yeah.
And, you know, I bought it off Amazon. I had no idea it was a textbook. I just thought
You
it was
thought
like,
a book of recipes?
yeah, I just thought, well, this looks like something that chefs would get.
Yeah.
You know,
I need
and I
this.
want to know. I want to, because my thing was I didn't want to be a chef. I was not interested in being a chef. I was interested in how they cooked.
Yeah.
And how they thought.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. How
Yeah.
they approached a recipe, how they approached making food, because I knew the recipe was just the result of that thought.
Right.
And yeah, America's Test Kitchen helped a lot in those days. The way they've always approached their recipes, they give you all the failures.
Yeah.
You know, and
Oh,
what
yeah.
didn't work and why this is better. That was what I was looking for, was more of that. And so yeah, once I was into that, once I sort of had the vernacular down and started to understand, you know, the principles and the balances of various things, it's like, okay, this is just a little bit of science, you know, which is just enough, and put some creativity in it and start, you know, thinking outside the box with these various techniques. You see right away that techniques from around the world are all really similar.
Yeah.
You know, you just
They're just called
Absolutely.
something
you
a
just
little
plant these
different.
people all over the globe, and you don't let them talk to each other over eons,
Right.
and they all kind of come up with the same ideas.
Yeah.
And so over time,
Just
they
with some different flavors.
yeah, different
Yeah.
because they
Yeah.
live in a different place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and they can only get their hands on certain things.
Exactly.
So now we live in a world where all that has been reversed, where you can get a hold of everything,
Yeah.
and you can get the information on how to do these things. So now we're in this really exciting time of what's next, of
Yeah.
what's coming next. And I think that's the same for Oklahoma. What excites me about Oklahoma right now isn't necessarily any one place, or you know, although there are many that do. It's what I see happening, which is you're now seeing like references to cultures all over menus that wouldn't normally belong. You know,
Right.
a reference
Yeah.
to some Asian technique or some Asian ingredient on a you know, a French menu,
Right.
or on a steakhouse menu,
Yeah.
or on a Mexican menu, or something. You know,
That you wouldn't see.
You wouldn't see.
Otherwise.
yeah,
Normally.
because now you've got, especially now we've got this, you know, especially with our local Asian community, you've got this second and third generation being born, the generation that was born here in Oklahoma City, where it's sort of like Danny Bowen, who's done so well in New York City, who's from here. He you know, he had this sort of this cultural background, but he grew up here with
Right.
Cholinos and
Yeah.
and stuff like that, and chicken fry. It's
Yeah.
like, well, that's what I know. But my culture says this, and the flavor profiles are great over here, but these techniques over here are great too. So how can I put them together?
Right.
It's not so much trying to be fusion. It's not
It's just kind of a natural
Yeah.
progression.
It's not like
just-
you
yeah.
don't force it. It just kind of happens.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you
I'd be
understand
like,
it
I
enough.
like those flavors.
Yeah.
I think it might even work as
Yeah.
a different thing.
And
Yeah.
that is how we arrived at Cajun and Creole cooking.
Yeah.
It was the same thing without the internet.
Right. Absolutely.
Without
and it took a lot longer because, you know, because people couldn't communicate as efficiently as they can now.
Yeah.
And so it's helped it in a way too, because I think cooking, low and slow cooking, is usually the best way to get results. And I kind of think that's probably the best way to develop anything, kind of that low and slow
Yeah.
mentality.
Yeah.
But it's been supercharged. And now with access and information available, there's no reason not to evolve, and there's no reason for a young dining market like Oklahoma City.
Yeah.
So one thing people forget about us, we're barely 100 years old.
Right.
You know, New Orleans probably didn't come up with what the food that they have for 200 years.
Yeah.
You know, San Antonio is about 500 years old.
You know, that is true. Like
Yeah.
we are fairly young.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And this evolution that we're talking about, that hasn't been going on for too long.
No.
But it's been happening so fast.
Yeah, and we're kind of in a millennial city.
Yeah.
So we've got all the bells and whistles like millennials do to these tools to take us forward as a culinary market. We have all this extra information, all these tools and all these toys. We have all this opportunity here. So to me, it's just really exciting. You know, this last decade, it's really teed us up for even more exciting decade coming forward.
Yeah, it's been mind blowing, like how just literally before your eyes, so much is happening so fast.
Yeah, it's awesome
in the food scene.
Thank you, local restaurateurs.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah,
we love you.
Thank you for all your hard work for feeding us.
For sure.
Thanks for feeding us. We appreciate it.
Yes. So, I mean, we talked about all this exciting stuff coming up. Do you have anything exciting that you're working on?
I mentioned I was interviewing Byron Gambulus yesterday. It was the third time I've interviewed Byron in the last year. We've got about 15 hours of interviews recorded with him, and a colleague of mine and I are working on a book project about
cool.
Oklahoma alcohol and
Okay.
all our liquor laws and all that goes around
the evolution of
evolution of alcohol in Oklahoma.
Yes, the wild tales of our liquor laws. Yeah, and it's a fascinating subject. Took a lot of last summer to kind of familiarize myself about it, and what really resonates with my colleague David Dishman and I is, you know, the parallels with our burgeoning marijuana market and how the parallels that can be drawn with. Very few people realize this. When alcohol, when we went into statehood, we were dry. All right.
Right.
First state to do that, but we also had alcohol dispensaries for about a year.
What?
Yeah. For about a year, a little over a year, we had alcohol dispensaries in
I
Oklahoma.
didn't know that.
Yeah, that they closed because the bootleggers put them all out of business.
Right.
They were cheaper, and as it turns out, the bootleggers are running the dispensaries too, so it
they
was
were winning.
corrupt, and it was a bad. Well, it wasn't a bad idea. It was just it was never going to work.
Right.
You know, it just was a poorly executed idea. But yeah, we're kind of in that same boat, and we feel like there's a lot of information that we've already learned that we can continue to report on, to kind of, I don't know, be a guide to how we move forward with a market, with a new market that could actually impact the state in a big way. So we're kind of in the gestative place on that project. But
that's kind of cool.
Yeah,
It is.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
It will be a, if nothing else, we've spent a lot of time with a legend. Yesterday we saw. Yes, don't try and rob Mr. Gambulus. He has a gun room.
Oh,
I've heard about this.
Wow.
Yes.
I have heard about
Yeah,
this.
it's spectacular. Every one of the guns has a story, documentation. It's not just, I say guns, it's weapons. There's daggers and swords.
Doesn't he have like a Gatling gun as well?
So, okay,
Yeah.
I saw the machine gun in question
Yeah.
yesterday. Finally, with my very own eyes, not only saw it, but held it in my hand.
Oh.
Okay, it is not a Gatling gun.
Okay.
Okay, it is not anything that you would ever have put on a pedestal in a turret, and that's the legend. Okay, that's the legend. And I promise you that I have helped, push that fraud over the years based on what I've been told. But yesterday I finally had it in my hands. It's a old timey Australian machine gun with two little handles on it and a clip that you drop in the top. Now, Byron says that yes, they did have a guy that they would set on top of the roof up there and kind of patrol the area.
Oh, really?
Yes. But I've come to learn in more recent sit-downs that the veracity of that might not be complete. There might be some. I'll tell you, Byron's getting ready to turn 93 years old.
Oh, wow.
Okay, his recall is amazing. But I'm 51 years old, and I feel like my recall's pretty good, but and even at pretty good, I realize how bad it is.
Right.
So we are checking everything he tells us. But it's a great story, and he's an incredibly interesting man.
Yeah, I mean, memories have a way of kind of morphing
Sure.
and evolving over time.
Conflating with
Yeah.
other things that happen.
Yeah.
Especially,
And it's not on purpose. It just happens.
No,
That's
exactly.
just how they work.
I have caught myself so many times in the last couple of years. It's something about turning 50. It's like, oh my gosh, I just totally did that. I said that wrong. I was just dead wrong.
Right.
You know, and so yeah, I'm thinking at 93, I'm not even going to be questioning it. I'm just going to be. It's all fact.
All fact.
Everything comes out of these lips. Fact. Book it.
Fact. Done.
And
That's
Byron's
awesome.
got that attitude, and you know what? He's earned it. So
Yeah, for sure.
That's awesome.
for him.
For sure.
Yeah. All right. So we figured it might be fun since, you know, like we're talking about, you've been here since the start.
And you are the food dude.
The food dude.
I'll do my best.
We're going to go through real quick a best off segment.
Okay.
Right? So let's start it off. Best place to get a pizza.
Best place to get a pizza for me. Now this is me.
Yes.
All right.
And food is, you know, it's personal. It's not like a
Yes.
overall ranking type of thing.
For me, my favorite pizza in town is at Stella.
Okay.
Stella, all
Thin,
right.
the super thin
Yeah.
Stella, but Providence Pizza in Parlor OKC has my attention.
Ooh, are you
Okay.
talking about the
The
Detroit?
yeah.
Yes.
I've never gone there. You know, I've never had that kind of pizza, and I finally got some. I didn't do a whole thing, so I just had a few samples. But man,
The
very
Detroit's-
impressed.
Yes.
Nice.
Very impressed.
We'll get
Yeah.
into all of that.
Yeah.
There's-
Yeah.
I love Detroit style
Yeah,
pizza.
lightning round. I got you. Lightning round style. I got you. Lightning round style. Let's do it.
Best tacos in Oklahoma City.
Tacos Calvillo at Abel's in War Acres.
Ooh.
Abel's is a good spot.
Yeah.
I just went there recently.
Yep. 5 tacos for like $12 or something like that.
Can't beat it.
Can't beat
No.
that.
And they made us this special like spicy
Oh yeah.
concoction.
Oh yeah.
I don't know what to call it. Sauce,
Yeah.
salsa,
I gotta
something.
try that.
It was
Yeah. You know what? I just posted a thing today on how to make that sauce.
Oh, really?
Yeah, not by me, by a guy who knows what he's doing.
Yay.
Check it out. Yeah.
All right. Look at that. I can make it now. Best burger.
That's easy.
I
Nick's,
feel like I know what
Nick's
you're
Grill.
gonna-
Yeah.
Is Nick's Grill and is everybody else. And we have
Yep.
some great burgers in this town.
Yeah.
We do, but
But
Nick's
Nick's is it.
Yes.
so good.
Forget about it.
Best steak.
See, now that's where I always answer wherever they have the best duck because I don't eat out a lot of steak.
Okay.
I really don't. Steak is something I make at home.
Mm-hmm.
If I don't eat a lot of steak anymore as I've gotten older. It's not something I can eat a lot of anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there's 5 or 10 places that sell prime beef.
Mm-hmm.
They've got really expensive ovens, so then it comes down to everything but the steak.
Right.
After that
yeah.
point.
Yeah.
So and that's fine. I'm totally fine with that.
I love duck. Where's the best duck?
Best up.
That's a great question. I don't have the complete answer to that, although I know they have a really good Peking duck at Grand House.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah,
Nice.
solid Peking duck there.
All right. Best barbecue.
Barbecue. Well, that's 2 days ago. No, 4 days ago. I would have said really easily. I would have said Butcher Barbecue in Wellston. No
Yep.
problem.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. But now
Oh.
Right.
we have to say
We
Clark
have- we have
Crew
a second
potentially.
one.
Yeah.
Yes. So it isn't open yet. So as of today, it's Butcher Barbecue. But here in about a month, we all need to go check out Clark Crew
It's a-
Barbecue.
they took the crown.
Yes.
And they're not open yet.
They're not open yet.
Yeah.
Is that not the best restaurant, opening
Oh,
move
yeah.
ever?
Yeah.
We just won a global championship, and now we're going to open.
Right.
Are we even going to be able to get in?
Right.
Probably not. Probably not now, thanks to all this. Yeah.
That's off of Northwest Expressway, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
The old
Yeah.
macaroni grill up
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Funny story. Travis Clark, I met in 2013. We'd had a tornado, one of our terrible tornadoes that we have here, and there's this barbecue outfit that shows up in these disaster scenes, and they feed the
Right.
first responders and all that. And a friend of mine said, hey, he was involved with them. He said, come with me and I'll introduce you to some people. And so I'm kind of just set up with these guys. And there's this guy, his name's Travis, and he just moved here not too long before from southern Kansas, and he just started doing this barbecue thing on the circuit. And nice guy, I think we had a little brisket, it was good, and I just moved on to do my thing. So since that day, he has been the winningest barbecue team in America.
Wow.
So I take full credit.
Oh, yeah.
I
It's all
think
you.
it was our meeting that inspired him
yes,
to
yes.
no. The truth is, I forgot about Travis completely, and didn't even think about it. And then that's the truth. He's the winningest on the circuit, the most ribbons of anybody in America,
Wow.
and just finished that up this year by winning the grand championship at
Wow.
the Jack International.
Unbelievable.
Well done, Travis.
Well done,
Yeah.
Travis.
Yeah.
Looking forward to some brisket very soon, my friend.
Yes. Oh,
Us too.
yeah, for sure. All right. Best fries.
That's a tough one. See, because I feel like we need metrics, but
Like,
They-
are you talking like curly fries?
Right,
They can be curly.
right.
They can be cheesy.
But-
they can be
What's your
crispy.
favorite type of fries?
So, and there's no answer to that. I love them all. The answer is all of them. Okay. So I had a couple in mind that I really,
Okay.
the Hamilton, which opened here pretty recently.
Yeah.
They have just spectacular fries.
Really?
I mean, and we were just there about 3-4 weeks ago, and we kind of did the small plate thing, and they had this really great little snack tower. Little, it's huge, and a lot of great little things to munch on. But man, these fries were just immaculate. Shoestring, I think there's their shoestrings, and they make a little country aioli to go with it.
Oh, nice.
I mean, it's just
A
one right
country
after.
aioli.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so good. And the other was Chigama. I really like the
yeah.
Chigama
Yeah, the
fries.
Chigama
They're
fries. I
crazy
have had
weird,
those.
and they're
Interesting,
awesome.
yes.
Yeah, great.
I
for
forgot
block.
what all they put on it, but it's because it's a Mexican-Chinese
Yeah,
fusion, right?
Yeah.
some of that fusion we were talking about. So
Yeah.
they've got a queso, and it seems like there's cotija cheese and Mexican cheese,
And
and some
there's-
cheddar, and there's eel sauce, and there's red chili,
And those bulgogi beef on there.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah,
right,
yeah.
right,
It's
right,
just
right.
it's like all the good stuff.
Yeah.
All
you
the
know?
good stuff.
Yeah. So,
On fries.
on
You can't
fries.
go
So
wrong.
how can you go?
How could
yeah,
you go wrong?
So yeah.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's a good representation of a good fry.
I agree.
Best biscuits and gravy.
Okay. I have to say that they are currently out. The ones that I have in mind are much like Clark Crew, sort of waiting to materialize again. I loved the biscuits and gravy at Aurora.
Oh, I did
My
too.
absolute favorite.
I did
ever.
too.
Loved them, and they were vegan. Believe it or not. Yeah.
I actually didn't know that.
Yeah, that's because they took that part off the menu
Oh.
because they weren't selling.
Oh, because people were like,
Oh, it's vegan. I don't want that.
Oh, so they just
Gross.
took that off the menu, but they stayed vegan.
That's
That's really
hilarious.
funny.
Genius.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
Genius, yeah.
And I heard through you
They're
that
coming back.
They're coming back.
Coming
Yeah.
back. Yes. So.
When and where?
Yeah, they're coming. They're same spot. So
Really?
just it's the deal is not even complete. Honestly, it's agreed to, but they haven't signed the final papers on it.
Mm-hmm.
But the owners of Social Deck and Dining, Jordan and Jamie Winteroth, are going to be taking it over. They took on a new partner, a guy who owns some Sonics in Texas, local guy, and they're partnering now, and so they're going to be opening it here in November.
Awesome.
Nice.
So it's because it's turnkey. It's 100% turnkey.
Yeah, it was set. I mean,
Yeah, there's
everything,
even a menu.
Yeah.
So if they don't want to mess
There's
with the
even
menu
a
yet,
menu.
if they just want to just
Do it again.
they can
Yeah.
just do it again.
Which
So-
I would love it if they just did it again.
Yeah.
I loved Aurora so much.
oh, me too. Me too. So I think it's a win-win. So I'm hoping my favorite biscuits and gravy will be available again when they reopen.
They'll be back.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. All right, best chicken fried steak.
Chicken fried steak, Kindles and Noble.
I have heard about
Interesting.
Kindles
Yeah,
before.
Kindles and Noble.
And I always forget. And then whenever someone mentions it, I'll be like, oh, yeah, someone did tell me about
Yeah,
that.
yeah. Most people around here will tell you Cheevers, and it is
Yeah,
and it is
theirs
great.
is good. Oh,
yeah.
It's great. It's a fancy, you know.
Yeah.
That's the
There's
thing.
the chefy version.
It is. It's a chefly version. Yes,
Chefly.
chefly.
It's fancy.
Very chefly of
Yes,
you.
quite.
Yes, but no, and it is great, but it's a fancy one, and the people, to me, chicken fry. I don't hold it against Cheevers at all for doing a fancy one because I think there should be a fancy version,
Yeah.
but I also think most of them should be sort of your,
Country
style,
Yeah.
bigger in
Like,
your face, yeah, bam, for real. But yeah, Kindles has been doing it for decades, and when I was in Norman in the bureau down there, we would occasionally drive out to Noble to go get lunch out there, and there would be a line out the door every single time.
Dang.
I mean, it was amazing. And during the
Good
few
for
years
them.
during the time I was down there, they actually moved into Norman and opened a second place. Same thing, long lines every day. And we loved it. It was so great. But they closed it because it was too much work. And they went back to Noble. It's like,
They're like,
I don't want to work this hard.
There is something to say about that.
100%.
I
Oh, yeah.
fully
Yeah.
agree. Like, if you're working too hard, where you don't
Working
get to
that much harder to
enjoy-
make an extra 5%,
Yeah.
or something like that. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? It's
Oh,
like
yeah.
you're not taking whatever you made at the first place and doubling it.
Right.
That's not how that works.
No, your workload increases.
Yeah, there's all kinds of expenses that go up with that
Yeah.
too. So, but yeah, they do a great job out there.
Nice.
Look forward to trying that. And the best dessert.
Best dessert. That's to get dessert. It's easy for me. It's La Baguette.
Oh yeah.
You just
Yeah.
go to La Baguette.
I
They have it.
I agree.
They'll have it.
They have it.
They'll be there.
Yeah.
Like I don't know what it is because that's my problem with dessert. I don't ever know what I want.
Yeah, I guess we should have narrowed that one down.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of desserts.
It's hard for me to say what my favorite dessert is. I mean, you know, the easy thing for me to say is whatever Shelby Sieg makes at the Pritchard.
Oh, yeah.
You know, if she makes
She's
something
so
that's going to
good.
be better than anybody else's, most likely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she just beat Bobby Flay.
Yeah, Bobby Flay just learned that the hard
Yeah.
way. So yeah, that cake right there, that olive oil cake, you can get it there right now, and it's
Yeah.
fantastic. But her donuts, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
so good. But yeah, we actually did this like a week or two ago. We had stopped, my wife and I stopped at Mexican Radio to get a couple tacos for an early dinner. We left, heading home. Let's stop by La Baguette.
Oh, yeah.
We did, popped in, got a couple desserts, you know, got a pineapple upside down cake that was in a
Yeah.
perfect little thing.
Yeah.
It was
Right.
wonderful, you know, Italian cream cake, carrot cake. Come on.
Yeah, I just got a slice of carrot cake the other day.
Yeah,
Nice.
it's all great.
Delicious.
It's
It
all
is.
great. So,
I want some more of those chocolate mice.
oh yeah.
Yes, the
Yeah.
chocolate mice.
Yeah.
Oh, those are divine.
Now there's some guys right there. The original, not our French friends
Mm-hmm.
that own the one here up in Oklahoma City, but the original owners down in Norman. Their story, that's a whole podcast.
Yeah.
Lebanese guys who grew up in Africa, who came here and started a French restaurant.
Interesting.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
We're going to have to do that one.
Yeah.
You have to.
Yeah.
It's so interesting. Yeah, it was a French province in Africa that they grew up. Lebanese guys
Wow.
didn't even know that it was abnormal the way that they grew up. Just assumed that everyone had a French bakery. So of course you would. They're delicious. Why would you
Yeah.
not?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't
So
you?
they come
What
to,
other kind of bakery would you have?
yeah, exactly. And why would you eat anything else
Yeah.
but fresh baked bread ever?
Yeah.
And they come to Norman, Oklahoma for college, and alas, there is no bread.
And they're like, we're going to bake our own.
We're going to do this. And that's where it gets interesting because
Yeah.
it didn't just happen overnight because none of those guys had any business becoming bakers.
Wow.
So,
We definitely need to have them on.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. We'll work on that.
Yeah. Well, let's finish up this awesome episode with the kitchen sink.
oh, yes.
So the kitchen sink is kind of just fun questions that we ask every guest that comes on the show. And question number one. So we talked about you do enjoy cooking.
Yes.
You've kind of gone
Very much so.
through that. What is your favorite meal to make at home?
For me to make it home, personally, it's funny. When I'm just cooking for me, I just usually start with some really good rice and then something saucy to go over it.
Yeah.
You know, whatever I've got on
Yeah.
hand. But if I'm cooking for family or friends, I will almost always make tacos.
Nice.
Just
Okay.
because. Just
Staying
because.
true.
Just
To your
something
core.
different every time.
Well, for my wife, she demands mushroom pecan
Ooh.
tacos.
Ooh.
Okay,
That sounds amazing.
Yeah, that's a thing I
It's
make for
it's
her.
a specialty of yours?
Yeah, that's one I make for her. It's one I developed for her a while back, and yeah, it's one I do for her. And then for me, like I like some kind of smoked beef, brisket usually, but here recently I playing around with what's called rib cap, which is sort of like this edging for. Basically, it's a neighbor from the ribeye family
Okay.
that
Okay.
stays whole.
Yeah.
And you can take it and stick it in a smoker for about an hour and get basically the best prime beef,
Yeah.
you know, like prime rib flavored
Yeah.
beef that you can chunk up
Okay.
and cut
Nice.
small. So that, and I would put that with some chimichurri.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
That's
chimichurri,
Ooh.
homemade flour tortilla. Done.
Perfect.
Yeah.
That sounds fantastic.
It does.
Yep. That's all you need.
Yeah. Good answer.
Yeah. All right. When you don't want to cook at home, what do you pick up?
The pickup. See, now we touched on this briefly. I don't choose pickup food based on what I'm hungry for or what is my favorite. I choose based on what's best to pick up.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, yeah, actually I had to write these down because there's some good ones. Yeah. Chicken fada from Yummy Mummy.
Yeah.
Cannot be beat. And get it because, well, I think they're going to actually keep, they're moving. The owners of Yummy Mummy are moving to Denver.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but I think they're going to try and keep at least one of their 2 restaurants here open. So that chicken fada is unbelievable, and it moves and it travels great. Butter chicken from Sheesh Mahal, pretty much anything from Sheesh Mahal
Yeah.
travels great. Pakistani restaurant, phenomenal. Hashwa from Nunu's. You ever heard of hashwa?
No.
It's a rice and ground beef cooked in butter with almond slivers.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah.
And everything from Nunu's travels well. They have a really good travel. And then this is a new one. There's a new place by my house called Chuan Yu Fusion.
Uh-huh.
And they have a chicken dish called, I had to write this down, Chongqing chicken. It's a weird spelling. But it's basically, come on, with the peanuts.
Kung Pao?
Kung Pao. It's Kung Pao with no peanuts. Is what it is.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Kung Pao with no peanuts.
They made it better.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I like the peanuts too, but
I do, but sometimes there's
but
a lot of peanuts.
yeah. It's like it gives them license to just put more peanuts in
Yeah.
there.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, but and it's not. I don't think it's not saucy like that, but it's sort of that fried, like lightly fried chicken thighs, and it's the what do you call it? Szechuan peppercorn.
Oh, yeah.
They
Okay.
dust it with Szechuan
Yes.
peppercorn, so
Yum.
it's crazy good.
That sounds really good.
Yeah.
What's the strangest thing you've tried?
Scorpion,
Oh,
Ooh,
and the answer
live?
is no.
Don't
No,
do
no, no, no.
Was
no.
it live?
No. No.
the answer
It wasn't
no.
good. Every question you have about eating scorpion, the answer is no.
No, don't do
Okay.
it.
Whatever. I don't care what the question is. Just no. Just don't.
Was it prepped in it?
It was
I'm
at the
like,
fair. It was one of these silly fair
Yeah.
things.
Oh, like on
Now-
the pizza?
No, it was. They just gave it to you.
Oh,
You know,
really?
some kind of nonsense. I don't even.
Some kind
It
of
was
nonsense.
so gross. I was like, no, I'm not eating that.
Ew.
I shoot it for about a second and spit it out. It's like, no, I'm not
Ugh,
eating that.
gross.
But then in China, they eat them like crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
they do.
yeah, I'm not saying they're good. I'm just saying somebody eats them.
You're just
They're
saying
not
no.
for you.
I'm saying no. When I go to China, it's not going to be for the scorpions.
All right. What is obviously it's not scorpions. What's your favorite snack food?
Snack food, that is a tough. It's a tough one like now, but the reality is it's chips and salsa.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Ever since I was a kid, I was
Yeah.
completely addicted. I eat chips and salsa so much that I take it for granted. It's like, oh, dummy! Of course it's chips. You eat that
Oh, yeah,
almost every day in
Right.
some
You just forget
capacity.
about it. It's
Yeah,
just
yeah,
there.
yeah,
Yeah.
It's like vitamins or something
Yeah.
for me. Food dude vitamins.
That's funny. So, what country or region do you think has the most intriguing food scene or culture?
Right now, it's Spain.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Spain. They've ever since the Audrey brothers, they pushed the outside of the envelope in a way that nobody really ever has.
Right.
And even though the brothers are not as active as they were, say, even 5 years ago, there's so much residual from that. There's so much creativity, and then of course you're in a place that's on the ocean, and all these beautiful ingredients and
There's so much
traditions.
access
So
and-
yeah,
Right.
yeah. Spain is probably the cutting edge right now.
That sounds good.
It does.
And save the most difficult question for last. What's your favorite restaurant in Oklahoma?
That, of course, changes on a daily basis. It kind of changes depending on what I'm in the mood for. But I think as far as just a place that I enjoy going is probably Nick's. But Nick has to be – I love Cameron, who cooks there most of the time now at Nick's Grill, the original. But if Nick is cooking at Nick's Diner, there isn't really a dining experience anywhere in the world like it.
Yeah.
There's just not.
Yeah, I think whenever I've gone there, it's been Nick. And it's just, there's a different energy.
No.
in the
Mm-hmm.
And
place, right?
he's aware of it. He knows it. It's a
Yeah.
performance. He understands it's
Yeah.
a performance. It's all a part of the plan. It's not concocted. It's all comes from a real place for him.
Yeah.
But it's like an expression of art for him.
Yeah.
That's his moment on stage to sing for you.
Yeah.
And he knows that.
And that's what he does. And he does
Yeah.
it so well.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not there as much as he used to be, but he's still keeping plenty active. But
Yeah.
that is probably the easiest. I've written down. Oh, the other one close to my house is Tsubaki Sushi.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's
I
really close to
love
my
it.
house. And Henry Yang, they're the chef and owner there. The thing that makes that a favorite is I just go in. That's a place I go by myself. My wife doesn't love sushi, and I do. And so I'll go in and just sit down at the counter, and I'll just kind of signal him however many I'm gonna eat that day.
You've got your green card up.
Yeah, it's just like I just sort of bow and just said, whatever you got, hit me, because he's just such a genius with what he does, The other Florence's restaurant and getting fried chicken from Florence's that I know is made in a Dutch oven that's older than me, and then candied yams that are just spectacular. And it's such a comforting place to be. And
Right.
then if Florence walks out, then,
All the better.
you've just seen a legend. Oh my gosh, I just saw a legend. A legend just walked out and I saw her and shook her hand. So yeah, that's another one that's hard to match. That's a hard experience. There's not very many places that have that.
Right.
A living legend in the kitchen. So yeah, that's kind of, it's hard for me to say one, but
No,
I know, it's tough. That's what
It
I said.
is.
It's a tough question.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's a
Oh,
tough
and
question.
I have to throw this out there because nobody knows about this and everyone should. The third Wednesday of every month, we should all be eating at the Hutch. Okay.
Okay.
They do fish and chips on the third Wednesday of every month, and
Okay.
they look exactly like Long John Silver's,
Yeah.
but taste like heaven.
Ooh.
I mean,
but tastes completely different.
complete heaven. Like, oh my gosh, how good is this?
Third Wednesday
Yeah.
of every
So
month.
every Wednesday at the Hutch, they do a family style meal. So it'd be like a meal for 2 or 3 if you're just kind of munching.
Oh,
Right.
nice. Okay.
So like spaghetti, meatballs, fried chicken, homey foods like that.
That's cool.
And the third Wednesday, it's fish and chips.
So is it first, second, third, fourth? Like they have a set thing
So every
Wednesday?
week, yeah. And then when there's a fifth, it's
Who
fun.
knows?
Yes.
Who knows?
Yes. So be looking for those fifth Wednesdays. But yeah,
Nice.
I don't know the where the other ones fall, but I know where the fish and chips fall.
Right.
That's
Like
cool.
I told
Okay.
David Henry, the chef. I told him, I said, I'm just gonna get on open table and just book all of them,
Every third
just
Wednesday,
all of
I'm
them.
there.
And if I have something conflicted, I'll let you know.
Assume I will be here at 7 p.m.
That's
every
right.
third Wednesday.
That's funny.
That's funny.
Well, I think that's going to wrap it up for us. Thank you so
Bet.
much, Dave, for coming on.
Pleasure.
Yeah.
And
it's-
congratulations on the podcast. Great job.
Thank you so much.
You bet.
And you guys can follow Dave's food journey, the Food Dude, on Instagram. His page is The Food Dude, and it's DOOD.
Lots of O's.
Yep. And you can also, where else can they follow?
Oh, theoklahoman.com. I'm
Yeah.
on theoklahoman.com, and I'm on Twitter. I think it's the Food Dude. I think I have a U there because that's an older account. And then,
The newer spelling is double O.
yeah, it's a newer spelling. Sorry, folks. Sorry to be confusing. And then there's a Facebook page also, Dave Cathey Food Dude, and my podcast Community Table. I do about one a month, and they usually just post with stories.
Nice.
So open the story and the podcast.
And you
will
got to
go
listen to
south.
them. They're fascinating.
I mean, it's the
it's
guy-
like that journey, that story is so well told.
Yeah.
They're really good.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, literally the guy that knows Oklahoma food scene.
Yeah.
So,
Such a heavy burden, but a tasty one. But a
a
tasty.
tasty
I'll take
burden.
A heavy one on your stomach.
Yeah, for
Right.
sure.
That's right.
And you can follow us at OKC Foodcasts on Instagram and Facebook. And if you'd like to send in some listener feedback, you can email us at okcfoodcasts@gmail.com.
And don't forget, as always, if you know someone that loves food as much as you do, or maybe a little less, share this podcast with them and spread the good word.
Yeah.
Do it.
Do it.
Spread
We need
the-
more
the
food
tasty
conversation.
word.
Yes. And if you feel so inclined and you enjoyed this podcast, leave us a rating and write us a review. Those go a long way in helping us get out in front of more people and keep doing what we love.
Yeah. And just again, thank you so much, Dave, for coming.
My
Yes,
pleasure.
thank you.
Enjoyed it very much.
And until next time, friends, eat well and be happy.